everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. In this video, we're going to go over chapter 10 of the book of Daniel. Daniel sees the Lord and others in a glorious vision. He is shown what is to be in the latter days. Since we're on chapter 10, that means we're really close to the end because we only have this chapter and then two more after this, and we will have completed the entire book of Daniel. If you don't know what I mean, this is part of a series. You can watch these individually or you can watch the entire thing, but we're going chapter by chapter. So go to my playlist. Here's my homepage for the channel. Click on this tab right here for playlists, and then you can find it here. And I took the advice of a couple people to number each video to say like what chapter it's on. So, for example, I created a separate playlist just for this series. It's called Book of Revelation, chapter by chapter. And you can see in the title, chapters 4 and 5. Because like when we were doing the Book of Revelation, that's where I started. I didn't realize I was going to be doing like all these different books. So at some point, we'll swing back around and probably do Revelation again. But anyway, 4 and 5, 6 and 7. And then you can see easily the chapters. And you can just go from the very beginning all the way through to the end. Or you can go to my main playlist for the Book of Revelation where I have all my videos, 71 in total, which includes the series and then many other videos that have to do with the Book of Revelation. So got that. Same thing for Daniel, the playlist for all the videos. So far there's 40 of those. And then this chapter by chapter series where I have 7 of those. And actually, I guess I missed a couple. I'll need to go back and find those. I think I got a little ahead of myself. And then remember, we went over the entire book of Joel. It's only 3 chapters, and I did that in one video. It's an hour and a half video, but it's worth watching. So there's that. And then really quick, one update for the channel. I got contacted by Ellie Michelle. He's a content manager for Israel 365 News. And I partner with them. They're the ones that set me up with Rabbi Gerfine. And by the way, I'll be talking to Rabbi Gerfine next week. We weren't able to do it this week, but you can expect a video of me and him doing an interview next week. And they've asked me, I partner with them and I'm helping them with different charities. So in this case, there's a new link in the description box below. Basically, a 32-year-old man, Meir Tamari, was murdered as a result of violence in the Middle East. He left behind a wife and then 2 children, ages 1 and 2.5. So if you're able to donate, please do so. They're trying to raise $100,000. So far, they're at $38,050 to help the widow and the 2 children left behind. So it's a very sad story. This is something that personally I fear. If I was to die or if Jenica was to pass away, just what would happen to either one of us in the aftermath of that, and especially when it comes to like finances and being able to survive in this world, let alone the grief that you're going through. When you're going through that grief, you shouldn't have to worry about money. That just, you know what I mean? So if you can, please help. So I left a link in the description below, along with other charities that you can donate to if you'd like. Okay, so Daniel chapter 10. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto Daniel, whose name was called Belteshazzar. I guess he just kept that name, his Babylonian name, even though the Persians were now in control. And the thing was true, but the time appointed was long. And he understood the thing and had understanding of the vision. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth, neither did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. And in the 4th and 20th day of the 1st month, as I was by the side of the great river, which is Hiddekel, then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. His body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. Okay, so Daniel is having a vision. He's at a great river called Hiddekel. He's looking up. He sees a man in clothed in linen, and it's a pretty interesting looking person. Beryl, I want to look that up really quick. I know that that's like a type of stone. Let's just go to the Britannica thing. So here you go. Something like this. This is Morganite, Aquamarine, and Heliodor varieties of beryl. So a shiny stone. Obviously, the man probably didn't literally look like a stone. It's just being used to describe how amazing he looked. Continuing. And I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, for the men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves. So that's kind of crazy. He's having this like open vision. It's visual in nature. He's with people. They don't see it, but there's a great quaking. That's interesting. Therefore, I was left alone and saw this great vision, and there remained no strength in me, for my comeliness was turned in me into corruption, and I retained no strength. This is an interesting thing because you'll recall this seems to happen whenever there's these type of encounters. Now, don't go all History Channel, Ancient Aliens on me. We know that these are, in fact, angels, messengers. In the case of Joseph Smith, it was God the Father and Jesus Christ themselves. And after that experience, he was left without strength. And with Moses, in the book of Moses, when he had that encounter with the Lord, same thing. He was left without strength after the experience. And so now the same thing here with Daniel. Yeah, I heard the voice of his words, and when I heard the voice of his words, then was I in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground. Some interesting details. And behold, an hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hands. And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright. For unto thee I am now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling. Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand, and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. But the prince, see, this is interesting. He's referencing like a specific time, it seems, and we'll see what the student manual says. But I think that this is like also, you can see this as a general principle. It's like from the moment that you start focusing on God, repenting, chasten thyself. Let's see what that goes to. Hebrew, humble thyself. So he's basically, let's see, set thine heart. Okay, that just takes you to that. So from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand, it's like opening yourself to learn, right? Being humble. And to humble yourself before God, thy words were heard. That might be a clue to the rest of us. Maybe if we want to be heard, maybe we need to do the same thing. Okay, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 1 and 20 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. Now I am come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the latter days. For yet the vision is for many days. Yeah, I'll say it's a long time. And when he had spoken such words unto me, I set my face toward the ground, and I became dumb. And behold, one like this. And by the way, I just better define that. Dumb, that means you can't talk. Okay. And behold, one like the similitude of the sons of men touched my lips. Then I opened my mouth and spake, and said unto him that stood before me, O my Lord, by the vision of my sorrows are turned upon me, and I have retained no strength. For how can the servant of this my Lord talk with this my Lord? For as for me, straightway There remained no strength in me, neither is there breath left in me. Then there came again and touched me one like the appearance of a man, and he strengthened me, and said, O man greatly beloved, fear not. Peace be unto thee, be strong, yea, be strong. And when he had spoken unto me, I was strengthened, and said, Let my Lord speak, for thou hast strengthened me. Then said he, Knowest thou whereof I come unto thee? And now I will return to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come. So again, this is again making reference to, let's see, King. You could say King Nebuchadnezzar's dream or Daniel's vision of the four beasts. It's the same thing, just different aspects, different ways of looking at the same thing. Babylon's already taken care of. At the time of this vision, the Jews are dealing with the Medians and the Persians, and then later the Greeks are coming, and that's what was just referenced. So the Greeks, right? So he says, and when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come. And I'll bet he's specifically referring to Alexander the Great, the one that expanded that empire. But I will shew thee that which is noted in the scripture of truth. And there is none that holdeth with me in these things but Michael, your prince. All right, so let's see what it says in the student manual. An LDS source of interpretation and something that's gone through the correlation process to make sure it's doctrinally sound. The appearance of the Lord to Daniel, verses 5 through 8. Daniel tried to describe the glory and majesty of the Lord. His description is very much like that given by other prophets in similar circumstances. Compare this passage with Ezekiel 1, chapter or verses 26 to 28, Revelation 1, 13 through 15, and D&C 110, 2 through 3. Since those are short, let's go ahead and do that. Ezekiel. And above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone, and upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness as the appearance of a man above upon it. And I saw as the color of amber, as the appearance of fire, round about within it, from the appearance of his loins even upward, and from the appearance of his loins even downward, I saw as it were the appearance of fire, and it had brightness round about. As the appearance of the bow that is in the cloud in the day of rain, so was the appearance of the brightness round about. So, like a rainbow? He was like seeing a rainbow as he was seeing the Lord. This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. And when I saw it, I fell upon my face, and I heard a voice of one that spake. And again, when it's all uppercase Lord like this, that's just a stand-in for Yahweh, the equivalent of which is Jehovah, which is the Latinized version, because of, in English, there's no way we can say Yahweh. It's too hard, so we have to turn it into Jehovah because of the I can't stand that stuff. Yahweh, just there you go. Okay, Revelation chapter 1, 13 through 15. And in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. And again, I wonder, because by this point Christ is resurrected in this point of the book of Revelation, I wonder if that's how he's going to appear when he comes to us, except for he'll be wearing red, initially at least. And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. All right, and then to top it off, D&C 110, 2 through 3. We saw the Lord standing upon the breastwork of the pulpit. Yeah, so this is talking about the Kirtland Temple. Joseph Smith and I'm pretty sure it was Oliver Cowdery. Okay, so before us, and under his feet was a paved work of pure gold, in color like amber. And I've wondered about this so much. This the paved work of pure gold. Why? Why didn't he just come and float in the air? Why not stand on the pulpit? Or what's you know when something is put in scripture, I think usually, even though Joseph Smith was not writing on gold plates to write the Doctrine and Covenants, um, I would think that you'd still kind of like exclude erroneous details, things that don't really matter. I don't know. Maybe he was just like describing everything that he saw. But this is one of those things like the Liahona and seer stones and Urim and Thummim and things like that. Like these, uh, well, the like workmanship, these pieces of technology, whatever you want to call it, that seem to have come from heaven. You know, and I would like to know the purpose of that paved work of pure gold. Is it just for aesthetics? I don't know. Does it do something? I don't know. All right, his eyes were as a flame of fire. The hair of his head was white like the pure snow. His countenance shone above the brightness of the sun, and his voice was as the sound of the rushing of great waters, even the voice of Jehovah. There it is, saying, and then it continues. Okay, being in the presence of the Lord drained Daniel of his strength. Other prophets have also had, oh, there you go, similar experiences, and I already referenced those, found in the Book of Moses and Joseph Smith history. I wonder if that happens to President Nelson, because there was that one video that, man, I wish I remember where it was, but he basically said I had a visitor last night, and I wonder if that same kind of thing happens. I'm sure it does. Okay, Daniel 10:13. Adam and Noah appeared to Daniel. Previous reference has been made to a visitation of Gabriel, which is Noah, to Daniel. This chapter refers to Michael, who is Adam. So that's interesting. This is like these are really important figures in the history of the world and in humanity. You know, so what was going on with Daniel was really important. And again, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that this was the period of time where Satan would really have a lot of power. But especially by this point, the legs of iron, the Roman Empire, the time of the great apostasy, and then the lead up to the last days. You know, so this was a very crucial time. It was very crucial. And it's this ongoing story of these world powers all the way up until now, when Christ will come and now he will be the king. So it's fascinating. Okay, chapter 10, verse 13. Who is the prince of the kingdom of Persia? That Adam came to assist the messenger in contending with the prince of the kingdom of Persia suggests that the prince was not a mortal leader in Persia, but was the leader of the evil forces that supported the unrighteous dominion of the kingdoms of the world. So the Antichrist power, the great and abominable church, that kind of thing. If that reasoning is correct, then Satan or one of his hosts is the prince spoken of. Other scriptural passages record instances of Adam's intervening to support and sustain righteous individuals in contention with Satan. Now, this is interesting because it's a good guess, and the manual saying, well, we don't know for sure. This is probably one of those things that's going to be revealed in the millennium, because we know that in the millennium, uh, all the things in secret and all the works of both of men, but also of God that we didn't know is going to be revealed. And I'll bet this will be one of them. Let's look at these two references. Jude chapter 1, verse 9. Let me refresh it. For some reason, it's not pulling up. What the heck? Give me just one sec. Here we go. Jude 1, 9. Yet Michael the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses, durst not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, the Lord rebuke thee. So that's interesting. And then D&C 128:20. And again, what do we hear? Glad tidings from Gomorrah. Moroni, an angel from heaven declaring the fulfillment of the prophets, the book to be revealed. A voice of the Lord in the wilderness of Fayette, Seneca County, declaring the three witnesses to bear record of the book. The voice of Michael on the banks of the Susquehanna, detecting the devil when he appeared as an angel of light. The voice of Peter, James, and John in the wilderness between Harmony, Susquehanna County, and Colesville, Broome County, on the Susquehanna River, declaring themselves as possessing the keys of the kingdom and the dispensation of the fullness of times. So here's another thing. I'm not familiar with that story. It only kind of rings a bell, and I think this is all the information that we have about that. If you know anything more about that, if that's like recorded somewhere, the Joseph Smith papers, Journal of Discourses, whatever, I'd be interested in reading that if you have that reference. But it seems to show kind of a theme that ever since the beginning of mankind, you've had Michael fighting with Satan at various times. And who knows how often that happens. But it seems like there's at least been a few times where he has actually been there in the presence, in each other's presence, and he's done something to stop him. Okay, verse 14. What did the messenger come to make Daniel understand? The messenger said that he had come to make Daniel understand what would befall his people, quote unquote, in the latter days. He also said that his vision was, quote unquote, for many days. The content of the next two chapters indicates that was given to Daniel. The next two chapters indicates that what was given to Daniel was not an account of the latter days only, but was also an account of things from Daniel's time extending far into the future, including the latter days. Okay, so that's probably a mistake that people make, because there's this tendency always to read the scriptures and always think that everything is talking about us, today in 2023. And sometimes that's the case. For example, the Book of Mormon, the primary intended audience is us of the last days. But not everything in the scriptures always has to do with us in the last days. And I think that's something some people, they just don't take into account. And so it causes them to misinterpret scriptures, which is why you have to do an intensive study like this, starting with what the church teaches and understanding our doctrine. And then afterwards, going and looking at what scholars and others have said, taking it with a grain of salt, because, they're not ordained to teach. Neither am I or other YouTubers. So you should really stick to authoritative sources. Make sure that's grounded. And then after that, you can spread out, but take everything with a grain of salt, and just be careful. And certainly don't take those ideas that aren't taught in church and then turn them into something that you're now teaching everybody. So anyway, that's it for chapter 10. So we just have two more. Then we'll be done with Daniel. And I think after that, we'll go on to Isaiah, because that seemed to be the one that everybody wanted to do. But I'll do another poll just to double check and see how everybody feels at this point. That's going to be it for this one. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it. Leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.